My name is Sally. I'm in my 8th year of marriage with my husband Mike, a marriage that started unexpectedly with a pregnancy. Our daughter Lily, born from that twist of fate, is now an 8-year-old third grader. Mike and I were both 22 when we got married. Fresh into our careers and with little money, we began our married life living with my parents. My family, having just me and my younger sister, welcomed us warmly. My parents even proposed converting our home into a duplex to give us our space, a gesture we gratefully accepted. Mia, my sister, then a high school sophomore, was thrilled about having a big brother. Despite my initial apprehension about the unplanned pregnancy, everyone's acceptance and blessings were beyond my expectations. I never imagined what would unfold next. Being new to motherhood, I had a lot to learn, but Lily was an easy child to raise. Maybe it's parental bias, but she was quick to speak and barely had any terrible twos. She was mature for her age, almost adult-like in her ways. She sometimes seemed so insightful beyond her years. But let's pause my daughter's story there. 3 years into our marriage and parenthood, I noticed I had become a bit more robust. This change became a frequent joke for Mike. "You're getting a bit too sturdy, aren't you? I don't remember marrying a wrestler." He often teases me about my body shape. He'd often compare me to my sister Mia, a college student then, suggesting I should emulate her grace and beauty. His words were hurtful. Comparing me with my sister doesn't make sense to begin with. She was a college student at the time, full of youth and always dressed up beautifully. It's obvious that a mother raising a toddler and a 20-year-old college student would be different. Despite being hurt, I tried not to let it bother me. After our child was born, my husband became somewhat cold, hurling harsh words at me for various reasons. I thought if I took his words seriously, it would break me. He might have felt the pressure of being the sole breadwinner for me and our daughter. My parents were both actively working. My daughter couldn't get into daycare and ended up on the waiting list, so I couldn't work. My parents said it's okay not to contribute financially to the house for now and suggested saving for our daughter instead. But my prideful husband couldn't accept that. He insisted on contributing to the household expenses, even though his salary was modest. As time passed, Mike's attitude towards me worsened. He would vent his frustrations on me, saying things like, "You have it easy, just playing with Lily all day. I'm out here working hard to make ends meet." I'd retort, "It's not play. And if it's so hard, why not accept my parents' offer and stop contributing money?" To which he'd snap, "I can't do something that embarrassing. It's obvious even to someone who doesn't work." These arguments became routine, especially when my parents weren't around. I often responded harshly, regretting my words later. Even when I asked him to stop belittling me in front of our daughter, my husband would unleash his frustration on me with harsh words. He was always kind to our daughter. I endured it. I believed that, hoping he would regain his calm and kindness once I started working and contributing to our finances. When Lily started kindergarten, I began working part-time. Returning to work was a joy for me. But Mike's attitude didn't change. He demeaned my job, saying things like, "Part-time work is easy. You have no real responsibilities. Remember who's making it possible for you to live comfortably. The money you earn is insignificant compared to mine." Mike's verbal abuse seemed to escalate more and more. Adding to that, he started coming home late, citing overtime, and began taking more business trips, leaving the house empty. Whenever he was home, he was constantly on his phone, texting someone, never letting his smartphone out of sight. I wondered if it was an affair, but thought, no, not Mike. So, I bravely asked him once, "Who are you always texting? Even at home, are you getting work messages? I wish you'd play with Lily sometimes. We haven't had a family outing in a while, how about we go somewhere?" "Who I'm in touch with is none of your business. It's work. Right now, I'm just really busy. Are you suspecting me of cheating? Well, living with someone like you who's let herself go, one might be tempted. If you're so worried, why don't you try to be more attractive, like Mia?" That's what he said. I couldn't understand why he brought up my sister Mia. At that time, Mia was a busy first-year professional, and though we lived under the same roof, she barely had any interaction with Mike. Indeed, Mia always looked beautiful and vibrant, and even I, as her sister, admired her beauty. I used to hear all about her love life and offer advice, but come to think of it, that had stopped lately. Life went on like this for years, and Lily entered first grade. As she started elementary school, I passed the full-time employee exam at my part-time job and officially became a staff member. I thought this would reduce one reason for Mike's irritation. But nothing changed. He seemed to have grown accustomed to hurling insults at me without a second thought. He played the role of a good husband and father in front of my parents, who trusted and adored him like their own son. I once confided in my parents about Mike, but they said, "Aren't you overthinking, Sally? Mike is such a kind man, always good to us. He must be under pressure being the sole provider. You need to understand and support him. Men are desperate to support their families. Of course, they get irritated sometimes. You need to be his rock," they added. Both of my parents refused to believe me. So, I kept suffering alone, cornered mentally by the constant abuse. "Mama, are you okay? I love you the most. I'll protect you." My first-grade daughter always encouraged me like this. I thought I could endure as long as Lily was with me. But my relationship with Mike only worsened. I was fed up with his two-faced nature and my parents' blindness to his true character. So, I tried not to care about him and minimized our interactions. As this life continued, Lily reached third grade. Then, an incident happened. One autumn day, Mike disappeared. We barely spoke by then. I had grown used to not having conversations with him, dreading his sarcastic remarks. At first, I assumed he was on a business trip. But the next day, his company called, and I learned he hadn't been on a trip. I was off work, so I took the call immediately. "Mike hasn't come to work since yesterday. Is he ill?" He's not at work? I thought he was on a business trip." "Mike said that?" "No, that's not true. I just assumed he was on a business trip because he's been away from home so often lately. Business trips are quite rare in Mike's department." "Really?" "But he's been saying he's going on business trips for years, leaving home regularly." "We have no record of Mike being on a business trip." Hearing this, my mind went blank. I hardly remember what else the company representative said. What were those trips he claimed to take? Could he really be having an affair? I tried calling his phone multiple times, but it wouldn't connect. Confused, I went to consult my parents, only to find them unsettled. "Sally, good you're here. Mia has been absent without notice since yesterday. Her company called. Do you know anything?" "Mia too? What do you mean, Mia too?" she asked, bewildered. "Actually, Mike also hasn't been to work since yesterday. I just got a call from his boss." "What's going on? Both of them absent without notice since yesterday." I couldn't comprehend what was happening. Were they involved in some incident? Or maybe. I brushed aside the thought that crossed my mind. After discussing with my parents, we decided to consult the police if we couldn't reach them today. I decided to check Mia's social media for any clues. Her social media hadn't been updated. I checked his past social media posts. I scrolled through her past posts and saw several photos with a man. His face wasn't visible, but they were clearly together. As I looked, one photo struck me as odd. What was this feeling of unease? With that nagging feeling, I went to Mike's office to look for any clues. The moment I opened his desk drawer, I realized what had been bothering me. The watch and leather bracelet worn by the man in Mia's photo were identical to Mike's, which I had seen before. The watch was a birthday gift from me, and we had bought matching bracelets on an anniversary. It had been so long ago that I didn't immediately remember seeing it on her photos, but seeing the actual items in his drawer jogged my memory. Further examination of her posts revealed Mike's familiar clothes, suits, and bags. It was undeniable proof. Mike was having an affair, and the other woman was my sister Mia. They must still be together now. Was this some sort of elopement? I was in shock. Moreover, from the back of the drawer, I found numerous photos of Mike and Mia together. There he was in photos with my sister, smiling in a way he hadn't with me in a long time. It hurt to see those pictures. Alongside them was an envelope. Inside, I found a loan agreement from a consumer finance company in my name. For $400,000. Mike had taken out a loan behind my back, using my name. Was it sadness or anger that I felt? An indescribable emotion welled up, and I found myself throwing books from his shelf against the wall. Hearing the noise, my parents rushed into the room.
Sally! What's happened?
Ugh. I tried to speak, but no sound came out. Tears streamed down my face as I nodded. Seeing the photo of my husband and the loan papers on the desk, my mother cried out, and my father was furious.
What is this? How could he do such a thing? How could he do this to us?
For a while, my parents and I couldn't move from the spot. I don't know how much time passed. So my father spoke up.
Maybe Mia and Mike ran off together. Do you have any idea?
I wanted to say that I had no way of knowing, but again, no voice came out.
My mother noticed something was wrong. Sally, what's wrong with your voice? Are you okay?
She said that with concern. I just nodded, tears streaming down my face. Seeing my distress, my father suggested we go to the hospital. I believe it's due to a severe shock, the doctor told me. There was talk of rehabilitation and some therapy, but I hardly remember anything from the hospital. All I could think about was my husband, my sister, and how to tell my daughter. Leaving the hospital in the dimming evening, I returned home to find my daughter back from school, waiting for me while doing her homework.
Mommy, welcome back.
Grandma said you went to the hospital, and I got so worried. Were you sick? Are you okay? I could only cry as I hugged her.
Mommy? What's wrong?
Lily, your mother has become unable to speak because of an illness in her heart.
What? Why? You'll get better, right? It's okay, right?
Don't worry, Lily. We'll all support her together.
Mommy! Wah!
Seeing my daughter cry like that might have been a first. Her tears made my parents and me weep as well. I debated whether to tell her about her father and aunt but decided she could handle it. So, I wrote it down for her. Lily silently read my written words. Then she hugged me. The next morning, she said, "Mommy, it's okay. Those two will be over soon." My daughter immediately spoke to me, her expression clear. Confused, I asked her what she meant through writing. "I don't know how to explain, maybe a dream? But it's okay. You just focus on rehab. I'm here for you." Though I didn't fully grasp her words, having her by my side was a huge comfort amid this tragedy. I had my mother call my office to ask for some time off. I emailed every friend of my husband and sister I knew, asking if they had seen them. No helpful information came back. My parents went to the police and to the finance company about the loan. The debt my husband incurred in my name was difficult to cancel. The company's president, an old acquaintance of my father's, agreed to help look for him. I wondered what kind of man my father was to have such connections but decided not to dwell on it. 5 days after their disappearance, a change finally occurred. Mia called.
Mom, it's Mia. Please, help me. Mia. Where are you now? You're with Mike, aren't you? You've caused us so much trouble. I was, but that's not important now. Please, help.
My sister called in a panicked state. The call ended before I could learn her location. But it was clear they had been together. With no other option, we waited for further contact. A few days later, the finance company's president called my father. My father was asked to come to the office for a discussion. I went to their office with him. "Sorry to make you come down here. Is this your daughter? This is Sally. She's lost her voice from the shock and can't respond, but please understand. I nodded politely. Expecting the president to be intimidating, he was exactly as I imagined. My father's connections suddenly became a point of intrigue in my mind. So, what's this talk about? Is it about Mike and Mia? Yes, actually. Yesterday, our employee found Mike and Mia together and apprehended them. But as Mike resisted, Mia got away. We're still looking for her. We intended to hand her over immediately since she's not our concern. I see. Thanks for finding them. And Mike? He's with our men now. He's probably been squeezed for information. We've decided to make him pay back the loan he took in your name, so rest assured. The guy had massive debts and was at his wit's end. That's probably why he tried to run away with Mia, such a half-baked plan. I doubt he'll be free again in his lifetime. Sorry for the trouble. You've been a great help. Do you want to see Mike? We can bring him here if you want. Sally, what do you say? Want to confront him? Indeed, I had so much to say to him. But being unable to speak now, I wondered if I could convey it all. After a moment of hesitation, I chose to meet him, expressing it through writing. Sally, are you sure? I can speak on your behalf. Don't worry. Could you bring him now? Understood. Just wait a bit. About 30 minutes later, Mike was brought in, looking significantly strained. Seeing his face, it was clear that he had become haggard.
Mike! What have you done? Hurting Sally, racking up debts, and messing with Mia. Don't think you'll get off easy. I'm really sorry. You should be apologizing to Sally. She's the one you've hurt. She's lost her voice from the shock. Is it true, Sally? I'm truly sorry. Please forgive me.
I wrote down my feelings and showed them to Mike. Though my father offered to speak for me, I declined. I wanted to face Mike directly. I can't forgive you. I want a divorce now. You'll never see our daughter again. I don't want to divorce. I need you and Lily. I don't need a cheating husband. Lily and I don't need you. I need to know, when did the affair with Mia start? What did you use the loan for?
Please forgive me, Sally. It started around when Lily entered kindergarten. We often shared the same train home, and I'd advise her on her work. I was stressed, having married and missed out on fun. Mia cared for me. I used the money for dates and trips with her. I borrowed as much as I could in your name. That's no excuse. You impregnated Sally. You're a married man, and Mia is her sister. You've hurt my daughter and granddaughter. Never show your face to us again.
Seeing me cry, my father sternly addressed my feelings to Mike. He was very angry, speaking to my husband with an expression I had never seen before. Are you done, Sally? I nodded, tears streaming down. Thank you for bringing him. That's all for now. All right. Take him away. The company president ordered, and Mike was forcibly removed. What will happen to him now? Well, he might end up on a fishing boat or worse. But don't worry, he won't trouble you or your daughter again. I wondered what dreadful fate awaited him. But it was his own doing. After discussing that they'd contact us if Mia was found, Dad and I left the office. On the way home, my father apologized. I'm sorry, Sally. When you first came to us about Mike, I didn't listen and took his side. I regret that deeply. I shook my head and smiled at him. Yes, I was angry then. But now I realize nothing would have changed. Cheaters will cheat, and debtors will borrow. Mike was that kind of person. I don't blame my parents. In fact, my respect for my father grew. Although his connections still intrigued me. We got home late, and Lily had already fallen asleep. Arriving home, seeing my daughter's sleeping face, I suddenly felt a wave of relief and was soon overcome by sleep. The next day, I woke up around 10 a.m. I panicked to find Lily already gone to school. Since Mike's disappearance, I had hardly slept. But last night's closure allowed me a deep rest. At my parents' place, my mother was cleaning. "Good morning. You must have slept well for the first time in a while." Lily woke up on her own and went to school. She insisted we shouldn't wake you up at all. She's really grown up, hasn't she? Yes, she's more mature than me. Where's Dad? He's out. He went to pick up Mia. She's been found. Hearing Mia was found stirred a turmoil in me. Confronting her, I wasn't sure how I'd react. Her infidelity was something I couldn't easily forgive. "Eat something first," Mom suggested. My mother, sensing my distress, spoke brightly to me. After breakfast, as we sipped tea, Dad returned with Mia. She looked disheveled and worn out. I could imagine how desperately my sister had been trying to escape.
"Mia! What have you done? I'm sorry, but it's not just my fault. Sally didn't cherish Mike. She took their marriage for granted and never tried to keep his interest. It's not fair. I've always loved Mike. It's just that he met Sally first and married her."
I wanted to retort, but couldn't. Indeed, I might have taken my marriage for granted, not making enough effort. I couldn't respond to my sister's accusations. Maybe I never really considered my husband's feelings. Dad sternly said, "Your actions brought happiness to no one."
I was happy with Mike. Happiness is subjective. Don't measure it by your standards.
You may have been happy, but you've caused Sally and Lily unnecessary pain.
That's true, but I couldn't help my feelings. "Mia, enough." Dad scolded.
"Stop, everyone. This isn't right." I didn't want a family torn apart by arguments. But I couldn't see us returning to how things were. "Mia, from this moment, our parent-child and family ties are severed. Don't ever come back." That's...
"I'll leave anyway."
Mia packed her bags and left our house. Mia left without apologizing to me. This marked the end of my husband and Mia's relationship, and our family cut ties with them. Lily returned from school, and I decided to tell my daughter everything, believing she could handle it. My parents suggested not to burden her with details, but I felt she could handle it. "I understand. I'm fine. As long as I have Mom and my grandparents, I'm happy." "Thank you," I said, relieved by her maturity. My daughter took the news well, just as I had believed. Still, she was a child. And I vowed to take care of her heart. 3 months have passed since those tumultuous days. My divorce from Mike was finalized. I don't know where he is now. Or even if he's still alive. Mia was disappeared too. She eventually fired from her job for absenteeism. I heard through the grapevine that my sister was seen walking arm in arm with a man around Dad's age, dressed elegantly in the downtown area. She's probably making a living through night work. Meanwhile, I've been undergoing rehabilitation and counseling. I can't say my voice is completely back, but I'm gradually able to speak again. Life with my daughter remains much the same. We are supported by my parents, and the 4 of us are living harmoniously together. I asked Lily something that had always puzzled me. "Why did you say back then that Dad and Mia's time was almost up?" "Oh, that? I saw it in a dream. I often have dreams that turn out to be true. That time, I dreamt Dad and Mia were being chased by scary men, and then Dad was taken far away. Mia was walking alone somewhere." Wow. I couldn't help but express my amazement. Lily might have had a premonition in her dream. It made sense of many things. I always thought she had a good intuition since many things she said as a child came true. Learning it was a premonitory dream, I accepted it easily. "Mom, actually, I had another dream. It felt like it's far in the future, as I seemed older in it." "What was it about?" "About that. Lily whispered in my ear. You were holding a baby with a kind-looking man beside you, and everyone was smiling. Whether it was a comforting dream or another premonition, I'm not sure. Right now, I can't imagine being with someone else. As long as Lily is happy and enjoying her days, that's all that matters. For now, I'm focusing on living life to the fullest.